Perek lo Yachpor, Daf Chav Zayin, sponsored L'Refuah Shlema for Bava Basra Rivka. The Gemara explains a ruling of Ula. Ula stated that a tree owner who planted it within 16 amos of his neighbor's field is a thief, and consequently cannot bring bikurim from his first fruits, because the Torah says, Asher tavi me'artzcha, fruits that you bring from your land. His fruits are not growing entirely from his land. Gemara suggests two possible sources for his ruling. The Mishnah states, one who plants 10 saplings in an area of a besa, 2,500 square amos, can plow Erev Shvius, the eve of the sabbatical year, until Rosh Hashanah. Each sapling uses 250 square amos. According to Ula, if roots extend 16 amos in each direction, the area required to nourish each tree is 1,024 square amos, 32 by 32 amos, a greater area than needed for a sapling. Therefore, he must refer to trees, not saplings, 3 trees in a besa. He can plow until Shvuas of Erev Shvius. Each tree requires 833 1/3 square amos for their nourishment, 14.5 amos, less than the 16 required by Ula. The Gemara answers he refers to the area of a circle placed in a square of 1,024 square amos, 3/4 the area of the square, or 786 amos. The radius of a circle with an area of 833 1/3 is 16.5 amos. He rounded it to 16. The Gemara states the law is different for wheat. The Gemara brings a Mishnah that states Rabbi Akiva requires one to leave Peah and bring Bikurim for owning any amount of land. The Gemara explains he referred to wheat stalks whose nourishment comes from the ground beneath it. The Gemara brings a case where Ula's ruling does not apply. Although Ula holds not only does a tree's location determine its status, but its source of nourishment, therefore, even a tree that grew outside the border of Eretz Yisrael, within 16 amos, requires tithing. However, if an underground rock bed prevents its roots from crossing the border, it is exempt from tithing even within 16 amos. The Gemara reconciles Ula's ruling with the Mishnah that states one must distance a tree from a pit 25 amos. Although roots extend up to 25 amos, they only draw nourishment up to 16. Therefore, one is not a thief and is required to bring bikurim if his tree is more than 16 amos from his neighbor's property. The Gemara concludes with a statement in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, unlike the opinion of Ula. Even a tree planted on the boundary of his neighbor's property requires bikurim. Why? Because Yoshua al-Manaskein hinchil Yoshua Sa'aretz. Yoshua divided the land on condition that all landowners had the right to plant trees up to the boundary of his neighbor's property. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. The Mishnah discusses how much one can trim hangover of his neighbor's tree. Number 1, for most trees he can trim them to allow clearance for an ox goad raised above a plow. However, for sycamore and carob trees, he can trim the hangover completely because their shade is detrimental to growing crops. Number 2, for an irrigated field that requires abundant sunlight, the owner can cut the hangover completely for any tree. Number 3, Abba Shoah holds the landowner can cut the hangover completely of non-fruit-bearing trees, even for non-irrigated fields. We move on to a new Mishnah. The Mishnah brings a machlokas concerning hangover in the public domain. Number 1, the Tanakama holds they can trim the amount to clear a camel and its rider. Number 2, Rabbi Yehuda holds a camel and its load. The Gemara explains the rider can bend down. Number 3, Rabbi Shimon holds he can trim it completely because of tumah. The Gemara explains his concern is for an ohel, a tent for tumah. Thinning the branches to prevent something tameh from getting stuck is not enough. Our Mishnah teaches assessing damage is for imminent, not potential damage. The Gemara states our Mishnah's ruling demonstrates this principle. Trimming the tree does not prevent it growing back. The Rabbanan who do not permit digging a hole under a public domain, even covering it with a strong roof, can agree with the ruling of the Mishnah. They consider potential damage that may not be detected. The roof can deteriorate without anyone's knowledge, whereas people notice tree branches growing back. If you're enjoying Daf and 5, please click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. Thank you. Have a good Vach.